There are a few golden rules that are good to follow when we're working with our dog. The first would be, when teaching a dog something new, you need to show it to them about 10 times before they start to understand what you want. Praise your dog verbally and physically when it is responding to you, but don't overdo the praise. This will cause the dog to lose focus. Limit heavy praise to play periods, which are incorporated into the training sessions. Never repeat a command. If you do, you are teaching the dog not to listen to you the first time. If they don't obey after 2 seconds, make a physical correction. Avoid empty threats. If your dog disobeys and you commit to a correction, always follow through, even if the dog does what you asked after you moved in to correct them. They knew what you wanted, but were only testing you. If you don't give a correction, in this case, the dog will always play this game. Your dog cannot break a stationary command until you allow them to with the release of the word OK as you step away from the dog and clap your hands. Never give a command unless you are prepared and in a position to correct the dog if it ignores you. When beginning a new command, always start with a low-level correction and build up to a level that causes the dog to want to respond. Once a certain level of correction has been reached, do not start off the next day at a lower level again. Pick up where you left off. Once the dog understands that the corrections will always be administered at a level slightly greater than they care to receive, we begin to move into an environment that is very positive. You give a command, the dog responds, and he also receives praise. So both you and the dog are happy. Now, only occasional maintenance corrections are necessary if the dog challenges you. Training is more than being consistent. It requires consistency at a level of correction appropriate for the strength of the will of your particular dog. Correction is not permission to be abusive to your dog. It is a controlled, calculated exercise in behavioral modification. Your corrections should be just firm enough to make the dog decide to respond. Use firm, commanding tones without barking or screaming at the dog. Soft, nurturing tones will not gain the response you need either. Tell your dog what you want, don't ask them. If your dog is not responding, you want to increase the firmness of the physical correction, not the volume of your verbal command. Do not find yourself yelling at the dog to stay because they keep getting up. By keeping your voice controlled and calm while you increase the firmness of the correction, you will see the dog respond more quickly and your time around the dog will be much more peaceful. If your dog breaks a stationary command, take them back to where they were and make a physical correction. Do not repeat the initial down or sit command, but do say stay and show the stay command before you walk away. With each new command, our aim is to get the dog to respond to 3 commands in a row without the need for correction. This shows us that the dog is beginning to be humble towards our authority. Always use a combination of a voice and hand signal to command your dog. In this way, if the dog did not clearly hear you, it still has 2 seconds to see the physical command. A hand command will also help to show the dog that you are not simply speaking to another person. When your dog becomes old and they lose their ability to hear, you will be happy they know hand signals as well. Do not wait to get the dog's attention to give a command. Some dogs will realize that you are doing this and purposely never look at you so that you're not able to give a command. When you give a command, keep your hand signals still and visible for 2 full seconds. Ensure that the command is strong and clear. If the dog has not responded, make your physical correction even if the dog complies as you move in to correct. Teach them that they must respond within your time frame. If you make a mistake when giving a command, do not laugh or let on to the dog that you've made an error. Maintain your composure so that the dog continues to treat commands as serious business. Incorporate frequent play periods into all training sessions. If your dog is being stubborn, persist until you get the result that you're looking for, and then give them a great play session. The training line that we work with should stay on even when the dog is playing with you or other dogs. In this way, the dog does not become line smart, only listening when it's wearing the rope. It must be weaned off of the rope when it has earned that privilege. A short line and the command collar should be worn in the house when you are at home with the dog, so a correction can be made at any time if needed. Training periods should be limited to a maximum of 45 minutes. Your dog may respond quickly to what you're asking it to do, so as soon as you get 3 responses without the need for correction, then finish there for the time being. You want to avoid drilling your dog over and over. This is unproductive and unfair to your dog. Once your dog has the basics down, it's best not to go through a training ritual every day in the backyard. It is more effective to incorporate occasional commands into more real-life situations. Give the dog a down command in the kitchen while you're making dinner, or a come command while it strolls ahead of you on your walk. Lastly, avoid patterns in your training that the dog can easily read and anticipate. In this way, the dog truly has to wait for your command rather than mindlessly going through a routine or constantly jumping the gun.